I love it though.
All right. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Yes, this is New Kingdom Marriage. I'm going to, oh, we have Kawana, Tracy, and Dr. Min. We are so glad to have you all join in. We are here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with all types of hot topics. This is where Christian singles and married couples come together to become equipped for purposeful kingdom marriages. Amen. So, at this point, we are going to turn this over into the hands of our sister Tracy.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, hello, hello. We are going to discuss, yes, yet again, we're talking about dating. I like to talk about dating, right? For somebody who's not going on no dates, but I like to talk about dating. Anyway, it's just in preparation. It's in preparation. 7 powerful dating secrets for Christian women who want true love. It's an article by a Christian writer named Jackie Johnson, and she's talking about some of the things that we should and should not do in order when we're dating to find true love. Okay? She starts off by talking about how for some people it's very easy for them to find love. She used a couple that were her friends. They met at church in the single ministry um organization, and in a year's time they were married, and in a year time after that they had kids, and life has been wonderful for them. So yay for those two. Yay, 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 yay. But for the rest of us, for some of us, it takes a little more work. And she talks about some of the things that happen when you're trying to find your Mr. Right or your Ms. Right, and some of the things that take place, and some of the things that we need to do to help ourselves so that we don't mess up. Okay. Here are 7 things, hard won life lessons, secrets that I wish I would have known sooner that could very well make your dating life more positive, healthy, and joyful. She says, number 1, you deserve to be well loved. Now, in theory, we all know this, that we deserve to be loved. But what can happen sometimes is in our wanting to be in a relationship, in our wanting to be loved, in our, because I was talking about this earlier with Shameen, and earlier before that with Natasha, that in our wanting to be loved, sometimes we will settle, and we will uh, decide that it's okay, that we don't have to, we should not want that much, it's not that big a deal, he's not meeting our needs, but it's better than not being alone, kind of thing. And understanding that, number 1, that is not godly. God wants us to be loved. He loves us fully. He would not put you in a situation where you are with someone who does not love you fully. Okay, and then I'm going to read. Go ahead. Was somebody saying something? I thought I heard something. Okay. Um, I'm going to read what she actually says about it. Okay. You deserve to be loved well. You, my friend, deserve to be loved and to be loved well. Don't let a guy toy with your emotions or take up your time if he has no intentions of dating you. Don't settle for players. Don't let yourself be used or abused just because you want someone to love you. That's not love. No 2 a.m. calls or texts or come over or and hang out. No, you deserve to be treated better and with respect. We all know that, but sometimes in your wanting to have a relationship, in your wanting to not have to deal with loneliness and being the odd man out, especially if everybody else in your group is dating and you're not dating, sometimes we make decisions that they're not going to go well for us in the long run. But at the moment, it feels right because it's better than being alone. Number 2, let him pursue you. Now, we all know that that's what we're supposed to do because it's biblical. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor with the Lord, right? But sometimes we meet somebody, we kind of like them, they're kind of cute. You know, you kind of put yourself out there. He sort of kind of acts like he's interested. So we sort of kind of push, you know, and we were tugging back and forth when really and truly we don't have to do that. We just need to show up as our beautiful selves and let the man do what the man's supposed to do. And if he's not capable of doing that, then we need to understand that he's not the one, and that's okay. Now, that's my take on it. Now, I'm going to read what she said. Let him pursue you. A real man who wants a dating relationship will pursue and respect you. He will make his intentions clear. Sure, it can be difficult for some guys to man up and ask you out, but don't settle for less. It's great to be friends with a guy and to get to know each other and see if it leads to more. But the proof of desire is in the pursuit. If he is not intentionally pursuing you, then you are just friends. Ain't that a blip? You are just friends. You are not dating. A real man will make it known that he wants to be in relationship with you. You won't have to wonder or guess when he pursues and you respond. You have the best chance of a spark of desire to turn into burning embers of lasting love.
Mm,
Ain't that something?
my Lord,
My God.
that's something.
Not burning embers.
Would anybody like to put anything out there before I move on to the next one?
You have said it all.
Basically confirming all we've been talking about.
Hasn't it been?
We're
Oh my
selling
God!
for-
When
if
I
you're
read
selling
this,
for riffraff, you're gonna get a riffraff.
girl,
They
But
say
if
a,
you're
selling
selling
for it,
somebody
being
that's
okay with it,
a
it
real
will
man
do
will
it.
put it out there.
talking yourself into thinking that it's all good, it's all right. When you know good and well in your heart of hearts, deep in your spirit, as I like to say, get it good in your spirit that that's not working. But it happens. It happens.
Say other
Number
than
3.
that,
Go ahead, Jackie. I'm sorry.
I say you said other than that, you are just friends.
Isn't that something?
Come on here. Just friends, no
You
matter.
know, when I read it the first time, it kind of hurt my feelings.
It hurt mine right now.
And what was even more funny to me was, why do you have hurt feelings? You're not even dating anybody. What's wrong with you?
That's all right. You hurting for
But it
somebody
did. It hurt my feelings. I was just like, so we would just be friends?
else. No matter what, you can have the best friendship. You enjoy each other's time, and
And that's
it's
all it is.
attention and support and communication is wonderful, and
Girl, and he is a good friend.
he could right,
Ah,
and he could be a good man,
uh-huh.
but
Not for you.
but not right, but not a good man for you.
Yep.
Exactly. So,
Right?
like I said, it hurt my feelings, and I had to realize, number one, calm down, because it's just an article and you're not dating anybody, so it's all right. But I started thinking about situations that
That
you
you
get
know of.
yourself into, and you're just like, well, all right then.
Mhm.
Okay. Number 3, let him please you. By nature, women are givers. We want to please others. But sometimes we do too much and we don't let other people do nice things for us. Believe it or not, it makes a man feel good when he can do something nice for you. Men want to make you happy. I like that part. Whether it is fixing your car or taking you out for fresh seafood because he knows you like it, or of course, in a relationship, it goes both ways. Each person should desire to please the other person, but don't let it be one sided. You don't have to do all the giving, and you shouldn't. Now, I'll be honest, this part really didn't pertain to me because I like to be pleased, and I will let you please me. And I'm not selfish about it. I'm willing to make sure that, you know, I that I'm doing things for you too. I think it's important. Any comments? Any comments?
I
Hello.
absolutely agree, and it confirmed what we were talking about. When we are dating someone and the person is spiritually mature, and he's gonna know his role. He's gonna know that his role is to be there for you and to be able to. And the thing, we're gonna know what we are responsible for. But if we are the one that are jumping hoops and breaking down barriers because we want to be independent woman, hear me war, we're gonna get somebody that's gonna settle for. That's not gonna give us what we want, and we're gonna be really unhappy.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's not just in some cases, I don't think it's only being spiritually mature. I think if you are not in touch with yourself, if you are having some, what would be the right words for it? Maybe you are having self esteem issues or some type of insecurity of some sort. We sometimes settle, or you don't feel like you can ask for what you really want. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And because of that, you put yourself in a position where you don't allow him to, do things for you. He offers to do things and you're like, no, 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 that's not necessary. You don't have to do that. I don't really need that. I don't understand women that do that, but I get it. I just wouldn't do it
Mhm.
because I like the spoiling, but that's just me. Okay. Number 4, know what you want and don't want in a relationship. I had to think about this one a little bit because a lot of times in theory, you really think you know what you want in a relationship. And then the situation can present itself and you're left a little bit, what's the right word for it? It's either bigger than you expected, or it comes in a different package, or you thought that's what you wanted, but when it comes, you're not, you're not liking it, or it feels like too much. It can be a lot of reasons why you don't, you're, you are not sure of what you want. Or sometimes we will say things that we want, because traditionally those are the things that you should want, or those are the things that you should be doing. And, that's not really what you're looking for. And you need to be clear on that. If you know that you want a relationship that is leading to marriage, then that's what you have to make sure of. And that's what you have to put out there. Sometimes we will say, no, it's okay. We're just hanging out. We're getting to know each other because that's what the guy says. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, we can do that whole getting to know each other because once we get to know each other, we'll go down that path. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He
And
said, let's get to know each other. Let's go. Let's do, what is it? Let's go with the flow. Let's see where this leads. None of that says relationship.
right.
It doesn't.
And you know what? If I can add, sometimes someone will say, okay, they're looking for a long-term relationship, and we may take that to mean, oh, okay, they're interested in marriage. No, they
And they're
may
not. They're interested in
they're
a long-term
pursuing a
relationship.
long-term
Uh-huh. And that can
relationship.
be a lifetime of being a girlfriend,
Exactly.
or a lifetime of being a boyfriend. And
Right.
which is fine if that's what you want. But if
Mhm.
that's not what you're looking for, then you need to be honest about that and say, okay, when you say long term, you talking about till death do us part as girlfriend and boyfriend, or are you talking marriage?
Yeah. I know someone who's together over 30 years in a long-term relationship.
Hmm.
They were, you know, in their mind, I guess, it was like a marriage.
Yes. And you get those that say, it's just a piece of paper. It doesn't matter. It does matter. I remember I was a kid and my mother had a friend that was in a relationship. He was Uncle whoever. I can't even remember the man's name, but he passed away. and the children came and cleaned house. You hear me? And there was nothing she could do because she wasn't the wife.
Mm.
And I guess because of the way they lived, I don't know all the ins and outs because I was a kid, but I remember her ending up packing up her things and going back to, I think she was like from Barbados or something. That, and I just remember thinking to myself, that is a horrible, because they had been together forever. And here it is, you know, you find yourself in this situation. He gets sick, he passes away. And it was like a sudden thing. So I'm thinking maybe he might have had a heart attack or something. And it was over. They took everything. She could take nothing. And I remember thinking to myself, that whole, it's just a piece of paper. That piece of paper is very important. Besides the fact that it's a covenant between you and God and you and the person, it's also a legal document that will protect you. So it's really important that you do that. Now, let me read what she says, because, you know, I think I might have veered off a little, but let me read to you what she says. She says, know what you want and don't want in a relationship. When you're 17, you want someone who's cute. When you're 27 or 37 or older, you definitely want more out of a dating relationship. Recently, a married friend told me that she wished she would have looked for traits in a future husband like good communication skills and conflict resolution skills. Important things in a decade-long marriage, or even in your dating life, that some people may not consider. Then she goes on to tell you about her book. In my book, When Love Ends and the Ice Cream Carton is Empty, I list 5 traits to consider for whom you want to be and what you want to look for as a Christ follower who wants a healthy and faith-based relationship: Christian, communication, character, chemistry, and calling. Those were the 5 that she talks about in her book. I am a little surprised because even, you know, I am a woman of a certain age, but even as a, you know, younger person, there were certain things that were really important to me. And I remember with each person that I dated, those were the things that attracted me to them in the first place. It is important that you're a good communicator. It is important that you're honest. It's important to me that you're loyal. Because if you're not, we're just not going to make it. I don't, you know, but I remember even as a younger person, those things were important to me. So when she, you know, when she talked about, you know, wanting somebody that was cute, cute is nice, but it was never the priority for me. And I might be, you know, the odd man out, but it never was. Hi, Spunk, Spunk. He's so cute. But oh, he is so cute. But yeah, that was not the priority. It was always about the, you know, the different things about them as their personality that attracted me.
Yeah, I think as we mature, certain things are more important, certain things are less important. You know, I remember, you know, the person had to be at least 6'3", you know, had to, I just thought about Kawada with the voice, you know, you know, but yeah, as time goes on, guess what? What if that's the quality that they don't have, but every other quality is there? You know, I used to say with church people, "Oh, look at those cute little legs." I used to say stuff like that. It's a grown man. Oh, look at those cute little legs. um, I mean, you know, well, not to their face. I've never said that to anybody's face. You know, but guess what? How important is that really? You know? And what if that's who God says? That's the one that is going to, I mean, meet every need.
Mm-hmm.
Every, think about it. What are you going to say to the Lord? Well, Lord, I don't know. Give him a couple more inches. I know he passed the age of growing, but I'm gonna do a little something in that area. Put some blocks in the shoes or something. I don't know. What you gonna do, Lord? And that might be the one that God is calling for kingdom work. My God. And will you trust God enough? And that's what I'm talking to myself right now, because and not that that's my example, but just overall in general, that's what I'm hearing. God, will you trust me? Will you trust me? Just trust me. Trust me to do exactly what must be done. Trust me enough to know that I am going to put you in a good space, put you in a good place. I am going to bring you what is best for you. Because the truth is, we don't know what's best for us.
That is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
God knows, our Creator knows.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. I think we know.
Mm,
I think I know sometimes. I think I know sometimes.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that part that we think we know can be just as wrong,
Woo.
right? That part that we think we know can get us in a world of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
One of the things I realized as time went on, as much as I thought I was ready, I had some, what would you call those? I guess some traits that were not necessarily conducive to a good relationship. And I say that because being an extreme people pleaser, and I have a what's the right word for it? I call it like a nurturing maternal thing going on, right? So I had a habit of attracting people that were broken. And what happens is they are getting healed by being with you, but you are being broken into bits and pieces. So we would get to the point where they would do something that was just, as far as I was concerned, just beyond me. And in their mind, we're good. We're good because I love you, and although what I did wasn't cool, it wasn't, I didn't mean to hurt you and all that, all the stuff that they say when they've done something reckless and stupid. And by then I resent them, and it's an almost hate. And just like, I think I need to take a break from dating because I'm not doing a good job at this. I'm just not. Because, and it's not like we didn't have communication about whatever it is that's taking place, but I don't think that I did enough to put a stop to the behavior. You know what I mean? When the person's doing something, you have the conversation, and they agree that yes, what they did was wrong, or and they're not going to do it anymore, and so on and so forth. But somehow something would always happen, and I realized you need to work this out because this is not normal behavior, and not even on their end, but on my end. So I had taken some time and just decided you need to work on you a little bit so that you see it, because the truth of the matter is a lot of times the behaviors were there all along, and once I started doing that, then I attracted different people. But I remember thinking to myself, you got to work on that. That's just not healthy, and that's not what you want to take into your future. Anybody else want to share before I move on? Okay. Her next one is know what men want. I had to read that myself because clearly I wasn't sure of it. Let me read to you what she says. Know what men want. It's been said that one of the most attractive things to a man is in a woman is her confidence. In addition, he doesn't want you to pretend to be someone you're not just to make him happy. Be real, be your wonderful self. What he wants from you is respect, admiration, a best friend whom he is also in love with, someone whom he can trust. I'm sure there's more, and each guy is different in the specifics he's looking for, but those are the most general, foundational things as a start. What do you think, ladies?
I've been trying to, please forgive me, Lord, when I say this. I've been trying to care about what men want because I know I need help, and it's been tough. Not that I don't care, or I'll say this, I've been trying to get information when I am interacting with gentlemen so that I learn more about what they want. And I want to be clear, the healthy things that they want, that's what I'm focused on, because I hear a lot of societal things that are being spread and it's not healthy. For example, oh, when I get married, it's going to be 50-50. It's going to be 50% of my wife and her. I mean, all of that stuff.
Foolishness.
Because that's not healthy. So I have to be careful. But I am learning more and more and more through prayer, absolutely, through reading. And I've learned over the years a lot more about what, you know, a godly, devoted man of God is, going to be focused on. And he's focused on those healthy things. He's focused on, um, characteristics of a Christian wife, Christian woman who really takes time to build the knowledge and dig deep to get the biblical principles that are needed. Um, and I hope that didn't sound weird. It's not where I don't care about what, gentlemen want. I absolutely do. But I had to really make a shift because for a while, I I focused on so many other things. And it did get to a point where I was struggling because so much of what I was hearing about the wants, it was so unhealthy. And I mean, yeah, it took a lot of time. It took a lot of counsel, and I'm just glad that I made that time to just learn. And I'm still learning. I can't say that I know everything because I don't know everything what gentlemen want. And of course, it varies for all gentlemen. Some gentlemen may want a wife who's like in the mission field, 80% of the time. And I think that's great. Or some may want a wife who's serving maybe in a different way. Maybe they're serving in their community, a couple times a week or however it looks. But both scenarios are healthy. And I do give gentlemen the time and space to share that with me, what they're looking for, what are their deal breakers and things like that. But yeah, that's that's my share. That's how I feel about it so far.
Wait, when I hear, as you said, focus on what the man wants. And I guess when I look at that prior to getting into a relationship, if you focus on that, it'll tell you whether that's for you. You know, what does he want? What is he saying? What is he showing? You know, because it will tell a story. Um, and if you see, especially in that dating process, that he's wanting certain things that you're not lined up with, or you don't agree with, approve of, then that gives you time to run. You know that video? Run. Yeah. It gives you time because it's not going to work. You know, that's not for you. You know, and I think a lot of times because we don't focus on what the man wants, sometimes we can end up in situations, not only what they want, but what they don't want. That part right there. Um, when we don't focus on that, we can end up in situations that we didn't have to, or end up in them like too long. Um, you know, because we didn't focus on what they wanted. Or guess what we do a lot of times? We hear what they want or don't want, and we're like, oh, yeah, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
They'll change their mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something will happen. They'll get delivered. You know, that they won't have those thoughts. And wait till they see how amazing I am. You know what I'm saying? And you may be amazing. Just that part. You may be that amazing. Amen. But did I hear what they wanted or didn't? You know. And did I? And after I heard it, what did I do with it? Right.
Mm.
So I guess I'm looking at it at that angle. Focus on what they want. I think that's very important um, for your next steps. Yeah.
I I agree with you both. I think, just as you said, Jackie, a lot of times they are very clear on what they want and what they don't want, and most of the time they will say it. um, we have a way of saying that, they're very complicated, and, it's hard to understand. They're actually very simple creatures, and you can understand what they're saying. The only time you can't understand is if they don't say it. But the majority of the time, they're saying something. Um, I think sometimes in our liking them or wanting the relationship to work, we will interpret it however we want to interpret it to keep the situation going. And then when he either does or says something that is so blatant, just blatantly wrong or blatantly hurtful, then, now we're unpacking it and we're talking about, why didn't I see this? You saw it. You saw it. The only way you wouldn't see it is if you don't have eyes, but you saw it. And sometimes we just don't want to, so we do that thing where, well, he probably meant this, and he probably, no, he meant what he meant. um and I think sometimes, just in wanting the relationship, we will make those kind of excuses. The problem with that is time moves on, and we're wasting time, and we're getting our feelings hurt, and he's not going to change his mind, because he said from the get-go, you know if marriage wasn't on the table, it wasn't on the table. If it was a long term relationship, that's what it was. If he's looking for somebody that's, I don't know, 5'10", and hair down her back or whatever it is, that's what he's looking for. And we put ourselves in situations we don't necessarily have to, but in wanting the relationship. Um, that's just my spin on it.
But I also think that initially they'll say to you, "This is what I want," And as they are talking with you or courting you, they may have changed their mind along the way. And then there's another level of communication that needs to take place is that the observational piece where you are watching what they're doing, what they're saying, or what
Mm-hmm.
they like. For example, there's a behavioral change. There's a action behavior change that's been drastically changed. You went from everyday phone calls to want to hang out, and then months later they like call you once a week, and the next thing you know, they're not responding to your call. And I think that they may not have said it, but
Mm-hmm.
the action is also saying it, and we need to pay attention to that.
Absolutely.
And I could give an example where when I was dating a guy, he started like within a month of the relationship, a couple of months of the relationship, I want to be married. I could see me marrying you. And, this is great. I'm so glad we have so many things in common and culture. And one of the things that I found is that my what I started with, like, because I started with when we met, I was in the process of buying a house, and his thing was he thought I was saying that to impress him. And he thought I was saying that to impress him. So he was watching, got the house, and he's like, there's an attitude change. And then he called my house a shack.
Disrespectful.
I know, right? I said, look at here. You said you want to be married. You called my house a shack. I'm going to leave here in my shack. When you get me my mansion, please note, I'm not going to lift a thing to pack up. You're going to pack up everything because, that's those are the things you're saying. But toward, we went from talking every day to every other day to weeks. And what I had to do, and I had to sit down and come to Jesus moment. I said, where are we going? He's like, well, I don't want to be married. I said, okay, thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate that. And it is good knowing you. And he's looking at me like, what are you saying? My goal is to be married. Your goal is not. Clearly, I'm going north, you're going south. It means that we're not in the same direction and we're going to stop. And y'all, if you guys didn't know this about me, I'm quick to block you, delete your number, doing all these things. And that's exactly what I did. I deleted the number, delete the email, and block for good couple 90 days. I need to get it out of my system. And then, we're good friends now because, I've since moved on. And you could promise me the heaven on earth right now. That's great. But, you already, we've been there, done that. But the thing is, I think that a lot of times there's some men that may start the conversation in that space and then later on change their mind and they're looking for you to be okay with them changing their mind, stay in that same space. And they're looking for you to say, wait, I'm okay with that. No, it's not okay. You have goals, you have a plan, and I'm not going. And you know what? I had to tell you it was 1 whole year, 2 months, 3 days. And I was like, it's a wrap. I'm not going to wait because we're not in the same direction. Can you imagine if we didn't have this conversation? Well, no, I probably wouldn't. But if we didn't have the conversation, I'd have been staying there waiting like da 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 da. I think we women do ourselves a disservice when we continuously not define a relationship, look at the relationship, see where we're going, see the behavior change. I pay attention to what you said to me the first month, to what you said to me in 90 days, to what you said to me in 180 days, to what you said to me in 365 days. Why? Because when you change your mind, I'm constantly assessing and evaluating the stuff to see where we are. Because a lot of time we invest a lot of time in somebody's relationship that it has not yield the proper return. I'll give you an example. I have a girlfriend. I love her dearly. She was in a relationship with this brother for 33 years, moving together, living together. She took care of him on his deathbed. and did not make the appropriate provision, when he passed, children came. If it wasn't for the one of the daughter who's like, no, she took care of him. She's been with him for 30 something years. She wouldn't have nothing. And a lot of the stuff that was purchased, things that were done, came out of her salary because, and frankly, she was doing way much better. And when I told her that she needed to put stuff in writing, her thing was, you are so suspicious of people. And later on, she came and, she stopped by my house recently and told me, you know what? Don't ever do what I did. Tell other young women not to do what I did because 33 years 33 years she waited for that man. And he told her that I didn't want to be married. And she wanted to be married, she wanted to have children. But she settled because she was so in love. Ain't that much love in the world except the love of Jesus that would allow you to wait for 30 something years for somebody who made it clear that he was not going to do it. He made it clear that he didn't value you enough to marry. He made it clear because he had his own agenda. And at the end, God has blessed her. She has good friends that's helping her pick up the pieces and moving on. But to me, I felt that was not fair. That was not fair because we were operating out of emotion, not operating out of discernment, connecting with God for God to guide us and lead us as that. So as much as I may like somebody and I may be hurt from their behavior, I'm also very good at saying, okay, you know what? I like you a lot. I would like to want to be with you, but if you're not there, I'm okay. What you're not going to do, have me sit there and wait for you until you figure it out. And next thing you know, I'm gray, I'm old, I have a diaper on, I'm wearing well, no, I'm not gonna have diaper on, I'm a walker, and at that time, my opportunity to connect at a deeper intimacy level is gone because you waited forever to make up your mind. No, ma'am, the Lord loves me too much to allow me to stay in a
Yes,
position
he
that
does.
I won't do it. Are you
One
my
of the Thank you, Shameen. One of the things that I don't remember what podcast I was watching or what evangelist at this point because you watch a lot of them and mix them up. But anyway, one of the things that he said is that women have a tendency to listen to the words that the man is saying, but they don't pay attention to the actions. And he said, actions speak much louder than words. He's telling you that he loves you. He's telling you that he wants to marry you. But his actions aren't saying that. He's not putting a plan in place. There is no discussion of where we're going and what we're doing and that sort of thing. He's talking about his future, but you're not in the picture. But yet still, we're telling everybody, girl, he's changing jobs, he's doing this, he's doing that, and he's doing it. He is doing those things. He didn't say I'm making arrangements for, I'm relocating, we are going to do this. If they're not talking like that, if they're not you are not part of the conversation, his actions aren't speaking that, then I guess it goes back to the whole we're just friends thing, because if he intends for you to be a part of his life, you are part of the discussion. And his actions say that. I had a situation where a couple of friends kept telling me, oh, so-and-so really likes you, so-and-so really likes you. I went with it for a minute. I was like, okay. But I'm real funny. I like to be pursued. I like you to pay attention to me. If I'm the one doing all the calling and the texting and not saying that, because the minute I called, he answered. The minute I text, he texts back. But if I didn't do it, it wasn't taking place. As far as I'm concerned, he's not that into me. He just isn't. Because if you are, then you make the effort. The whole week goes by. If I don't text you, I don't hear from you, then you're not that into me. You can take it or leave it. And that's okay. But what I'm not going to do is allow you to occupy a space that could be for someone who actually will call, who actually will text, who actually will reach out, who will want to spend time with me, because I'm busy texting and calling you with your non-calling, texting self back. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I'll like you, but we're not going to do that. We're going to be good friends, because that's where you want to be. Moving on. Trust.
And just to add to that, and you can't place somebody in a place that they don't want to be.
Exactly.
And you should more.
Exactly. One of the things that I used to say is, I don't keep anything that doesn't want to be kept. You behave like you don't want to be kept, best believe. And I'm so obnoxious. We can see each other and I will act like I've never known you. We never had any dealings. We don't even know each other. And be okay with it. Not nasty, but like you're a total stranger. The Lord's still working on me in that, because I know that's not nice.
Do it, Lord.
And,
Do it.
and as my sister would say,
'Cause
Jesus is not
That's,
pleased.
that's what it used to be.
Yes,
It's
it's
here.
sealed. It's sealed.
Yes.
But I was very good at that. Pass you in the street like I never knew you. Anyway, that was the pass. Anyway, trust God's timing. That
Exactly.
can be, I think that's really important. I think it can be a little difficult sometimes when you feel like time is running out. For those of us, and well, I should say those of y'all that, want to make babies and have families and stuff, you may feel like time is running out. So you got to get in there and help the Lord out. Um, One thing I'm very clear on is he doesn't need our help. He knows everything. He knows the beginning, he knows the end, he knows when to change things, he knows when to shift things. He really doesn't need our help. And in my opinion, this is just mine, I think sometimes when we try to help him, we just make a bigger mess and cause things to be held up, because now he's got to clean up the mess that we created.
Mhm.
you know as Kwana said in her Bible study a while back, not only does he know everything, he's present everywhere. He knows the beginning, he knows the end, he knows years down the line. He doesn't need us doing anything other than believing and trusting him. So even though you may want this, you have to just believe him. You have to stand on his promises, completely step out in faith, and allow God to do what God's going to do. And know that if he said it's going to happen, it will happen. It may not be in your time, it's going to be in his time, but his time is perfect. So you will be okay. A lot of times I think because not only do we want it, but sometimes, some of us have been blessed with some good girlfriends that will make you feel like whatever you've got going on is less than because you don't have X, Y, or Z. And you have to know that you have to take your eyes off of them and stay focused on God and what his purpose is for your life and where he has you going. And know that whatever it is that you want, if that is his will for you and if that is what is best for you, then it will come to fruition and you're going to be okay.
I'm going to say if those girlfriends are close enough to do that, then they're too close.
Amen.
Yeah, those should not be the girlfriends around us at all to even get into demonstrate those behaviors. Yeah, we don't do that.
No, that's part of the seal situation.
Oh yeah, that.
Had to seal that because there were a few of them.
Mm-mm.
And claim to love you, claim to love you deeply. It's like, you don't need that kind of love.
That's when we. That's when we realize the First Corinthians 13 love ain't. It's not opposite.
Exactly.
Not
Because
opposite.
they were doing the third, what is it, Third Corinthians
Third Corinthians
love.
say. Mm-mm. No, siree.
Now, I'm going to read to you what she said. She said, trust God's timing. No matter how old you are, don't be in a rush to meet and marry someone. Growing a healthy relationship is like growing a beautiful garden. It takes time. Even if all of your friends are getting married and you feel left out or lonely, don't give in to your feelings. Trust that the one who loves you most, God, will prepare you and bring you the best guy for you. Doesn't that sound familiar? I just thought I'd put that out there. Anyway, if that is his plan for you, don't control circumstances or try to make things happen. See, that's what I was talking about. When we step in and we think we're doing God a favor by bringing him a couple of different men, we're like, look, Lord, look what I found. Look. It's got to be one of these right here. It's got to be.
Mm-mm.
And he's like, look at her. What is she doing? I'm like, no, Lord, I'm helping you. I'm helping you.
Right.
We create problems for ourselves.
But I think that one of the things that we have to understand is there's several things happening when you see young women are acting or being desperate. Because I talked earlier that I was a season in my life where I was really desperate because I was ready to have children. I wanted this, I wanted that. I had my wraparound Porsche, my babies, and I wanted a dog and a cat named Fifi and a dog named Pierre. However, vision I had in my head that I wanted, I did go to church, I did pray, I did fast. You know how many times I read Ruth? Woo wee! Looking for Boaz, and you know what? How many times I quote, two are better than one. It's not good for men to live alone. I did do the level of desperation because I wanted it so badly, and in the meantime, I did do the travel. I learned how to cook. I learned how to organize the stuff and wanting God to do it. So there are individuals that are going through that. What I found was rather than some of the friends being supportive and understanding what was going on, they were making fun, they were making comments. And then what that did for me though was put them back in the space where I'm also good at finding a corner for you too, for the girlfriends. But I think that as part of New Kingdom Focus and New Kingdom Marriage to help young people to navigate that to that process, because it is not easy when you see your sisters, your cousins, everybody, 15 bridesmaids dresses and a wedding every year. It is not easy. I remember one year I was in 3 weddings, April, June, and July, and then not counting the one that I visited. But I think that we could help them to really understand what they're going through, to really love them in the process, to really connect with them, to help them navigate the process, even when we are married, to share our story, let them know how it was and how hard it was and what they have to do. How did we navigate through the process? What is it that we end up doing? So all of that to help them to be able to not be so desperate. Um, I'm a little bit more blunt with my, hey, this is not for you, leave it alone, keep it moving, God has something better. But one of the things I'm working on is to be able to be, hey, can I share my story with you? Can I share with you when I was desperate and some of the mistakes that I made? Can I share with you what other will happen? And can I share with you when I let go and not be desperate? Even when I was at the verge of 3 weeks before a wedding, I realized this person was not for me. Can I share this with you? Because when you trust God with all of your heart and you lean not into your understanding, God is going to be able to bring somebody into your space that's going to love and adore you. And I think that if we help them navigate that process, if we help them love them in the midst of all that, we should be able to help avoid some of the mistakes that we've made in the past to help them out. That's all I have, and I use my mic.
I agree with you. I think also one of the things, because I didn't have that feeling of desperation, but one of the things I think that made the difference for me, because I've been a bridesmaid. I literally have a closet of dresses because I've been a bridesmaid that much. But one of the things that I always understood is that marriage wasn't the be all end all. It would have been a part of my life. The same way how I'm a sister, a niece, a daughter, my career and all those other things, then I would also be a wife. But it wasn't the be all end all. So I didn't feel like if it doesn't happen, life is not worth living. Now, I'll be honest, there were times when friends said things that hurt my feelings, but I still didn't feel that sense of I am less than, because what I couldn't understand is, why are you hating on me like that? That's just mean. You know what I mean? But I understood that, because I even remember with one friend calling me up and saying, "How do you do it?" And I was just like, "How do you do what? How do you, I was talking to another friend and she's not married and she's going through it. And how do you cope?" And I was like, "Cope with what? Not being married." And I was like, "Well, I'm not. And it's not the be all end all. I have all these other things going on. I travel, I have friends, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a niece, I have godchildren. I went through all of what, and I said to her, sometimes we have a tendency to make it that thing that's all we are. I said, when you talk to men that are married, they don't talk like that. They are husbands, they have their career, they are uncles, they are brothers, they're all of those things. I said, women have a tendency to do that. And then, God forbid, the person passes away or the marriage dissolves or whatever. And they are, or they get to that point where they're empty nesters and they have no life and they have no identity because this was all they were. And that's not what it's supposed to be. Is marriage a good thing? Absolutely. Should we all want to be married? Why not? Nobody wants to spend the rest of their life alone. But it should not be to the situation where if it doesn't happen, then you might as well just kill yourself. It's not that's not of God. That's not what you were meant to do. Your life has purpose. He sent you to this planet to do something fabulous that is going to be for his kingdom and for his people. Can marriage be a part of that? Absolutely. But to get to that place, and for me, that is what I would want girls to understand. Do you want to be married? Of course you want to be married. Will you pursue, as part of everything else that you're doing with your life? Yes. If the opportunity presents itself, absolutely. But it should never be to a place where if it doesn't happen, you would rather die. It should not be. And if you have girlfriends, just as Jackie said, that are that mean, then you need new girlfriends. And it took me a minute to realize that, because I had a few that would say really not nice things, and I didn't necessarily address it the way I needed to. It wasn't until that friend asked me that, and then tried to be condescending with, "Oh, that's a really healthy way." I was like, "No, that is the way you should look at it." I said, "You look at it differently because you're in a different space." I said, "But we both know that if God forbid something happened, you're going to be crushed." Now, not saying that you wouldn't be crushed, because you're losing your husband, but you have no identity left. And that's not how you're supposed to live your life. But that's just my opinion. And, after that, she didn't throw any more jabs.
Yep.
Can you all hear me?
Now
Yes,
we're
we can now.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I have to be sarcastic for a second. I'm doing my favorite thing in the world right now, washing and vacuuming my car. Anyway, Lord, I love you and forgive me for being sarcastic yet again. But please, Lord, make it so that my husband is going to do this for me because I don't like
yes,
it. I don't
yes,
like it. Oh, it's so
exactly.
disgusting. Okay. There's
Exactly. I'm with you.
there's
Yes.
two there's two comments I wanted to make. The first one, I just wanted to comment on Shameen, and then I'll move over to Tracy because when it's about asking the questions and getting as much information as you can, so you don't have to go down the path of spending your wonderful, amazing, limited, precious time going on dates and doing all these things that put you in a place where you're like, oh, let's just see how it goes. Let's just see how we interact. No, for me, and I have learned my time is to be spent fielding and gauging if there is a gentleman where we can explore, but that doesn't come right away. Because I have to say, what I am noticing also, there are many gentlemen who believe that a woman's time is obligated to them just because they show an interest, and it's not. My time's not obligated to any gentleman. I don't care if I want to sit in front of my television for 20 hours with my family and friends. That's my choice, and I can do that, but my time isn't obligated to a gentleman just because he's interested in me. And asking those questions up front, I look at it like this. The beginning, that's a stage where you are collecting so much information, but there's a pre-screening process where we're not going to spend time together physically until you can at least share with me, because everything else after you share with me verbally, I have to compare the actions with the words. I do need the words first, but then I need your actions to follow. The minute something doesn't match, then we have to have a discussion, or we both have to go our separate way. But what's concerning me is that, when you talk about the word desperation, we live and we learn. We know better, we do better. But for me right now, it's tough because so many men are used to dealing with women who operate from a place of desperation, and it's so unhealthy. Therefore, they come to me or many other women, they do this, where they believe they're obligated, and it's just, it's harmful. Um, and it's something that I put my boundaries up immediately. I let them know, okay, you want to have a conversation? Yeah, I could have nothing on my schedule, nothing to do, but out of respect for their time and my time, our time is the word that I typically use, our time. Let's schedule something. And then to go back to, what Tracy was saying, it's it's something where I I know it's not I know it's not easy. Um, it's not easy being single, but it is. The last time I checked, let me look. Yeah, the sky's still there. The clouds are still there. Um, yeah, the ground hasn't broken open and there's a gaping pit. No, there's none of that. It is not the end of the world. We are not to be treated as though we have nothing going on. And the support that we need as single people, our support system looks different, because I've experienced that as well, even from people who were closer than friends, where they're saying, and putting the thought, or trying to put the thought anyway into my mind, wow, what are you waiting on? Why don't you just go ahead and get married already? You don't know what you're missing. And my response is, well, first of all, I trust God. That's first and foremost. I trust God. There is no way that I am going to make any decision because of your pressure. Maybe they don't realize they're being pressuring, but they are. And that's unhealthy. Because if someone wanted to show that they love you and care for you, the first thing they would be doing is focusing on you and not anything about your status, because that's more important. They don't know that much about you if they're commenting, and if they believe that being married holds that much weight in a person's life. Because even when I am married, I am never ever going to treat someone as if they're less than, just because of their relationship status. How horrible of me. That is not honoring to the person, and it's definitely not honoring to God. So those are my two comments. Thank you. I love you all. I'm going back on mute.
Thank you, Kuan. I love you too. But there are those that feel that way, and it's almost used like a weapon. And one of the things that I for me, I just didn't get why it's being single is not a curse. And they make it seem as though it is, it's something that has to be fixed. It's something that has to be rectified, because here you are, as I said before, would you like to be married? Sure. Why wouldn't you? But it's not going to be something where, if God forbid it doesn't happen, my life is ruined. It can't be that, because you are more than that. At least that's how I look at it. Would anyone else like to share before I move on?
We moving on to close out.
Wait, what time is it? Are we done already?
We've been
Ooh,
done.
I didn't even see it. Yes, it is now 9:45. We had one left. I'm just gonna say it. Pray for your future husband, and we all know that already. So we'll just leave that at that. And at 9:45, we are done. Thank you all for being here. I think this article pretty much gave us some things that some of us may have known already, but gave us some perspective on how it can be seen, and how we can move on. Thank you all for being here. We are here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 8:30 to 9:30 ish, Eastern Standard Time. Did I say PM? PM. And we have New Kingdom Focus Bible Study Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube, Clubhouse, and Facebook. Thank you for being here. We will see you again. We actually will see you tomorrow for Bible study. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.